Welcome to The Ancient Way. I'm James.
I'm Marlia. That was hot. That was way hotter than I was expecting.
Is that...
Maybe it's just the headphones.
I think it's the headphones. Can we turn yours down?
No, it's okay. Okay, so I really am excited about this because also, just side note, guys, it's Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. So
It is.
If you hear Bexley in the background, congratulations.
Yeah.
Secret's out. She's hanging out. But so we wanted to do this episode, or I did. I was desperately wanting to talk about the Mike Parsons episode that we had on unconditional love. It was by far my favorite and the most controversial one we've had yet.
We got more feedback from that one than any other.
Well, we got feedback and we got kickback, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Because the thing I love about controversy, I think I've been this way since I was a child, is I like to stir the pot.
Yeah.
I just think that it's important.
Well, it highlights something.
Mm-hmm.
It points to something.
Yeah.
You know? It sheds light on something that I think, honestly, it's good to talk about.
If you're not willing to have a conversation about it, then I think that you run away from it in fear.
Right.
Because you're afraid of what it would say or what it would mean or whatever. Like, it's hysterical to me, honestly. Yeah. We got told we were heretics.
Well,
which I thought was absolutely great.
Man.
I was like, wow. I didn't know a heretic believed the entire Bible, the totality of the Bible.
Yeah. Well, we knew that one was it would be a potential trigger, you know? So it's understandable.
Oh, for sure.
It comes across that way. It's
fringe. If you're outside of the religious system. You know, I think it's hard for concepts, right? Because hell has been such a thing that has been entrenched and created to control people. Yeah. Which I just found
let's go back. So it was the hell. And the conversation about hell and then the Bible. Yeah. And those are the two big triggers for this episode in particular.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that sin is just lost identity.
Okay.
That was
another one.
Yeah, several people actually stopped listening right after that. I was told that they finished.
Oh, wow.
They had to turn it off. So they didn't even get to
Can we go into those, not specifics, but like what about it?
I think one thing that when you hold a paradigm of sin, right, and that sin is behavior, and that sin is like your works, and that Jesus just died because we were sinners by our wicked works, to say that it is our lost identity, it kind of clashes up against that, and so.
So there was an issue with sin being lost identity.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't sin mean to miss the mark? Or like it's basically like the opposite of alignment. Yeah. Which alignment would be with the Lord in our true identity.
Right. But because nowhere in the Bible does it specifically say, word for word, verbatim, that sin actually means lost identity. I
mean, if you put the pieces together.
I think that's where some people say that if you put pieces together, then you are.
Well, which goes back to Mike Parsons' issue with the Bible.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that's where people will die upon a hill because it says this verbatim, but it's taken out of context.
Yeah.
Which I just think is flipping great.
Yeah.
Like.
Wow.
You know.
That blows my mind. Like I didn't even consider that. Yeah. As a trigger.
No, I mean, I knew the hell one was.
I figured the hell one was, but I didn't think the sin one would be. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sin, hell, and the end times. That's those three. Oh.
Which I actually just listened to a thing about the end times. This is a side note. How, the book of Revelation, I do believe this. I think the book of Revelation has already been completed. Yeah. I think it's actually already done. Because I think it was all about the new era that the Lord, like the new covenant that the Lord was establishing.
Well, the end of the age was the end of the old way, the sacrificial system, because it was done.
Yep. But I heard somebody preach about it or talk about it, and I thought it was brilliant. They were like, it looks like if you were to read or understand things in a linear way, it looks like this will happen, and then this will happen, and then this will happen, and then this will happen. From the bowls to the, all the things that are being poured out.
Yeah.
But I thought it was beautiful. They were like, well, nothing in Judaism was ever linear. It was cyclical. Everything was about cycles.
Yeah.
And they were like, those were 3 simultaneous cycles that were happening. Go read the book of Revelation, for full context. But they were like, it's cycles. It's not a linear, because everybody's trying to put what's happening in Revelation in today's time.
Sure.
But I thought that was a brilliant explanation of it.
Oh, wow. Well, it's
like,
true.
Well, yeah.
I mean, look at the year, like the atonement every year.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing over and over again.
Because God loves cycles. I mean.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because, when they were going around the mountain.
Yeah, right.
They went around.
Yeah.
But they actually, when you're going around the mountain, you actually can also ascend in a circular fashion.
Sure. That's fascinating.
Yeah, but that's a side note. But back to the unconditional love episode.
Yeah. It's funny that's the title, and it was so kicked up so much,
Oh, yeah.
Well, this goes back to, I guess it was the episode before that, or maybe the one before it. Like, I think us as Christians are supposed to be the most resilient, stable. Let's really look at something, and then we can judge it.
Yeah.
But
I think even that, like the judgment is, where's the light in it?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Somebody told me that, I guess their mentor or whatever was like, basically, you better be careful what you listen to.
That reminds me of the song.
Because it was so bad. Because it was so off.
Yeah.
We're leading people astray and all this. And I was like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it hurt my heart when I heard that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dang, dude, to think about the judgment and shame that they live under, that they're always looking to how to criticize somebody else's stuff.
Sure.
Like, that's got to be a heavy weight.
Yeah.
If you're always looking for who are the heretics.
Yeah, well, and here's a side note with that. We're not leading anybody into anything. Like, you can listen to us all you want to.
Amen.
So,
we're literally just sharing our life and our experiences.
Yeah, right. And our relationship with the Lord, I think it speaks for itself. I think a lot of it speaks for itself. And I mean, he's there for you, It's not like James and Martin Leah do this. Now I need to, we're not really doing that.
But I think if you operate in that mode,
yeah,
you start to filter people through that mode.
Sure. Oh yeah.
If you live by the hierarchy system, which that's funny that you said that, because I basically said the same thing. I was like, yo, why don't you just ask the Lord? It has nothing to do with what the heck James and Marleah said.
Or Mike Parsons, because he said the same thing.
Literally, even Mike Parsons. It's not about us.
No.
It's never been about us.
No, not at all. Not at all. And we don't have to control anybody.
No.
It's just, anyways.
But
I was going to say something else. Oh, have you ever heard that song, Oh, Be Careful, Little Eyes, What You See?
Oh, yeah.
Where the Father up above is looking down in love. So be careful, because he's looking at you with love. So be careful what you see, be careful what you hear, be careful what you say, because he's looking at you with love. Does that make any sense?
It feels weird. It
feels very weird. Why would I have to tread
lightly,
carefully because he looks on me with love?
Probably because of that snake that says, don't tread on me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Zach has one of those suckers in our bedroom, and I was like, this feels counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Because I actually want to tread upon you, the snake.
Okay, yeah.
Have you seen that,
I have seen it. Oh, yeah,
okay.
All over the place. Yeah. But yeah, that song popped into my head like 2 days ago, and I was like, man, that's kind of a warped song. Why would I be careful? Like, what I see. And you know what? We can't help what we see sometimes. Really. I understand. I guess the context of the song, go back to context. My God, you can get lost in that.
Oh, yeah.
And then what's the end result of that argument? Let's just do nothing.
Yeah.
Because nothing is safe because of contextual like issues.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's the, follow that rabbit trail. Where does that lead you? Anyways, that song. We're going to play that. We need to play that song at the beginning and end of this episode instead of the theme song.
Oh, my gosh. Let's do that.
That'd be funny.
That's hysterical.
Anyways.
Yeah, man. I really did. I so appreciated what he talked about, the things that he brought up.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing, and even especially the hell thing.
Yeah.
The hell thing, really, I think that is one of the greatest lies that I want dismantled.
Mm-hmm.
That I really want to come and shake the flip on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Because to see God as that, I think you can trip into that of he is bipolar, because if you don't choose him by your deathbed, you know, then you're definitely burning forever in hell.
Yeah.
And you're going to be tortured, and you're going to, you know, and then I even had somebody that was so offended by that. And they were like, I have had personal accounts of other people, which is funny to me.
It's not personal.
Yeah, I know. I thought that, I was like, it feels weird. Of other people who have experienced this hell, and they've been there, and they've had this torture done to them.
Okay.
And they basically told this other person, like, I'm going to send you all this information.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, what is the fruit of that?
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel like love or joy or peace or patience or kindness?
Not at all. And then going back to the context thing again, why does that specific thing mean that's hell after you die from not choosing him?
Yeah.
That's a very specific avenue for that dream to go.
Yeah.
Very specific.
What if you were actually being tortured in your own mind?
Right. Yeah.
But you interpreted it like you were in hell, in the eternal judgment.
Mm-hmm. To jump to that conclusion of like, yep, that was hell. Yeah.
I think that's because that's how we were programmed. Oh, which going all the way back, this is what I thought was interesting. I found this out, is that the concept of hell itself has only been around for 200 years.
Right.
Around 200 years.
Sure, yeah.
The early church didn't believe in it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and yet we've taken on and adopted these thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be like, well, we're more enlightened now than we were when Jesus walked the earth.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, we should actually return back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were all mystics. I think they were all...
I do too, yeah.
Brilliant. And I think that's what we're all called to. We're all called to walk into this deep, mystical reality with God.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's been warped and turned into something. Oh, we can see it now. And to the point, if you're like, even whenever I did believe that stuff, I hated believing it. It was pressure to believe that.
Oh, yeah.
But I think deep down, you have a feeling. I think deep down, you've got a little something in there that's like, this just doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel right.
Here's the deal for me, and I strongly believe this. If it is producing confusion in you, if it is producing turmoil, if it is producing pressure, none of that is God.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him where he is in the midst of it.
Yeah.
I think any of that, even the best well-intentioned things, they could actually be producing pressure within people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like even great intentions. And it's like, okay, well, even if you have good intentions, you should ask the Lord, why do I feel this pressure? And where are you in the midst of this? Because God doesn't produce pressure.
Yeah.
I think people and manipulation and witchcraft produce pressure.
Right. Yeah.
And confusion. Because doesn't it say that wisdom from above is first peaceable? It's like willing to yield.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the wisdom of this earth is...
Yeah, sensual and demonic. Well...
But it says that there lies every bit of confusion.
Right.
Confusion is actually in the earthly wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And I think that if somebody is sharing something with you and it produces confusion within you...
Yeah, there's clarity to be had in that confusion.
Yeah, but I feel like even if their intentions were good in sharing that, you should probably evaluate it.
Yeah, connect to the Lord in it.
Yeah, ask him where he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even just that, like us talking about hell and us talking about all that stuff, like if it produces a bunch of confusion within you, or even, that people idolize the Bible, and if that is creating confusion and it doesn't resonate peace with you, don't take that.
Yeah, Right.
Like, let him actually lead you and let him show you. And
yeah.
Man, that's a lot of freedom.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I think freedom is scary.
I think it is too. But if we're connected to him, I don't think anything can like confuse us or throw us off that way.
Mm-hmm.
To that degree, you know? Or trigger us to like, nope, I'm doing that. I don't know. It just feels.
I think if you're in your carnal mind, though.
Yeah.
Because your carnal mind is at enmity with God.
Sure.
And so I think especially early in a process where you're trying to dismantle some thoughts, I think it would feel like that because it sometimes feels like resistance.
Sure.
But I think it's like having that willing heart, that yielding of like, okay, well, I don't get this.
Let me consider it and take it to him. Not tuck tail and run.
Mm-hmm. That's humility.
I've seen, this is kind of the fruit of religion too. And even like overprotecting just your children from everything. Years ago, we were in Austin at this thing and we were walking down the street. It was me and some other people. I'll just say that. There was one individual that had grown up in a hyper-religious upbringing, and we were walking down the street, and there was some sketchy stuff going on, like pretty sketchy stuff. There was a girl that, like, straight up sitting in a corner, like, possessed, looking at us doing all this weird stuff, and we walked by, and this poor person couldn't handle it and ended up running to the car out of just pure fear.
Yeah.
You know, having grown up as a staunch, I don't know if it was Baptist, I don't know what it was, but that stuff just immediately just shocked this person. But we're supposed to be walking around, I mean, like Jesus. Like the Legion shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when things come up, like we're confident. He's our foundation. He's our rock. So
yeah, because we know light.
Yeah.
I think that's like just the fruit of religion in general. Like,
yeah,
you know fear if you know religion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like everything is done in fear. Everything is done to quote unquote protect and to harbor and to like close off from the rest of the world.
And they call it God. They call it love.
And they call it wisdom.
Just like that song.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't sound like love to me. It sounds like he's looking down and whatever. Sounds like a fearful.
But I think even in that, like even raising your kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there is an element, and by that I mean, I prayed that this morning, that the Lord would teach me to parent Bexley, to unravel her in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Like how do I unravel her and let her fully thrive and flourish?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, age appropriate things are important.
For sure.
But
when stuff does come up.
Yeah, not shy away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, so this happened. I was just sharing with somebody that like I let Bexley watch Star Wars, right? Yeah. She's not even 3.
Yeah.
And it gets a little intense.
Yeah.
Oh, we let her watch Black Panther too. I mean, a little intense. There's certain parts I don't let her watch, especially when it's like a parent that is going to no longer be around. Like those things I don't, because I don't want to instill that level of fear.
Yeah.
But Zach taught her this freaking phrase of we kick butt. So she runs around the house watching these shows. She's like, we kick butt. We kick butt. But I want, like, to me, I mean, most people are like, well, she shouldn't be watching Star Wars. She's way too young. Like, well, that's been said. But, which is fine. You know, it's people's prerogative. I have zero check about it.
Yeah.
In fact, she loves it.
Yeah.
And she watches more action things with daddy than mommy does.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's freaking great. She is not scared at all.
Yeah.
Even scary movies, she's not scared. She laughs at that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what? I want to instill that within her. Mm-hmm. Be afraid of nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
I'm the same way.
And then if it's coming up, like, let's look at it.
Yeah.
Like we watched Kung Fu Panda 3 last night. Flippin' love that movie. But we talked about it. I mean, the dude's kind of like, I mean, he's there to represent. He's a demon from the spirit realm that comes in.
Okay.
He's trying to take everybody's chi, trying to take the light from everybody.
Energy. Yeah.
But the panda comes back in. Hold on a second. And he channels his greatest power because people remind him who he is.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it's brilliant,
That's
dude.
great, yeah.
But we talked about it, and I was like, the greatest source of light is when you know who you are.
Yeah.
And you know, like, you can actually channel that power, and you release the light, Bexley. And she was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she was catching it. She knows it. Yeah. And then we just kicked the butt of anybody. Right. And she, like, we talked about, like, what is darkness? And darkness is when people, I said, darkness is what tries to steal from people.
Yeah.
And we're always after the darkness. We're never after people.
Yeah.
We're after the things that rob people.
Yeah. Kick butt and save people.
Hey, what do we say? What do we do? Can you say kick butt? Maybe later. It's hysterical when she talks about
That's great. I think it's good that she watches Star Wars.
Yeah.
I watched it when I was a kid. I'm okay. I turned out okay. I let Kyla watch. Yeah. Yeah, there's age appropriate stuff, and then there's, but you can't shelter them from it. Stuff's gonna happen, and if like the person that I was talking about, you go that long without it, when something happens, it's like paradigm shift in a bad way. Then you got to recover from that. Mm-hmm. You know,
yeah,
there are dark things out here. There's things that happen, and
that's real.
All this stuff, but we have to know that we're equipped, to confront.
Yeah, but I love that because it's like and by age appropriate, I'm going to say that. I think that anything that, if you ask the Lord, like, hey, would this produce fear within my kid? Yeah. Then stay away from it.
Right.
But other than that.
There's just a healthy growing into it. It's not like, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyla, let's watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Here you go. That's not a good example.
Totally.
But even like stuff in like their life and things as it comes up too, like situations at school, like with other kids, some things they say.
Oh, yeah.
It's like being the one that they want to go to, first off.
To talk through it.
Talk about it. Mm-hmm. And then for you to be there, and instead, like that example, there was one, Kyla said something about witchcraft or something like that. And she'd watched this cartoon, and apparently there was like witches and stuff on it. And I didn't fully know what was going on it. Yeah, I'd see it passing by, Mm-hmm. But she said some phrase or something like that. And I had a split second where it almost triggered me. And then I caught myself, and I've probably told this story before, but I stopped myself and just kind of explained those things, just like I didn't go at it from a shameful or like, no, that's evil, you can't listen to that, or all this stuff. So it's a developmental. Oh, yeah. The growth process and everything with kids, I think. Mm-hmm. And Kyla's not really scared of anything. If she is scared of something, she'll obviously tell me about it, and let's look at it.
Yeah.
Like the storms. Let's go outside and let's sit in it.
Let's face it head on. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a great challenge for anybody that's a parent. I think my mic is cutting out.
Is it?
Yeah. That's okay. Maybe you can listen to the last 5 minutes of that.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I see your little waves on there.
Okay.
Well, one thing, too, about the episode, the controversial episode, is I hope those people come back and listen to it. Because I don't think they just chimed into that one episode and listened to it and said, nope, this is trash. I don't think it's possible. But I hope that they can sit back and even consider it and think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of stew on it for a little bit rather than trash it. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you couldn't really think about it.
I know.
Or consider, maybe it's not this way.
I loved it.
Yeah.
What I love so much about the episode was that you could feel the fruit of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like him talking, it's like clearly he has encountered the love of God.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you can tell.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
He's not abrasive. He's not condescending. No. He's not rude. He's not,
Yeah, not at all. Just a nice guy.
Yeah, and doesn't even like try and correct you.
When he probably could.
Yeah.
He probably totally could.
The other thing that I thought was beautiful, I listened to some of his other stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody said that basically he's a Gnostic and like all this stuff, and then I just stumbled upon one of his videos where he talked about Gnosticism.
It was titled Gnosticism, right?
Literally, yeah. And he goes into it, and he basically, because Gnostics believe that they have a piece of God within them.
Okay.
Right. And he goes, I don't believe that you have a piece of God within you.
Yeah.
I think you have the whole thing.
The whole thing. Yeah,
I think you have.
That's cool.
Like, God has actually given his life.
Yeah.
When he resurrected and he dispersed his spirit within, like at Pentecost, into his disciples, he was like, that was a prophetic picture of all humanity.
Yeah.
That all humanity has the Spirit of God within them.
Yeah.
Some people acknowledge it and recognize it, and some people don't.
Right.
It's the only difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was talking about, like, Acts 2, like, I will pour my spirit on all flesh.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, that there is no separation even within who gets it and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just beautiful. But he goes into that, and I just think it's funny, like, so many people you just take like small pieces and just be like, no, that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, or he's that, or oh, he's this. I was like, well,
yeah, way in the end time stuff too. Like there's a way universalist, and they'll slap those. That's what this is. That's what this is.
Oh yeah, but he even, like, in one of his other videos, he actually dives into, and he will say, I'm not a universalist.
Right, I've heard him say that before. Yeah, yeah.
But people will take it and blow it out of proportion. Because I'm not a universalist.
Sure, right, yeah.
I mean, I sound like it.
Yeah. Well.
But I think people choose. They choose the darkness over the light.
Yeah. Well, why does it, and one thing, like, why does it hurt so bad to hear these things about hell and about sin? Why does it hurt that bad that you know?
Oh.
Why is it such a tender point?
Because you've built your life upon the sand?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's, and it's not really their fault. It's been placed there for us. You know, it's been a snare for us, and it's been a tough one. It's been a tough one, and it's intentional, you know?
Oh, 100%.
So it's not anybody's.
It's nobody's fault.
No.
I think there's just, I love the way you just described that. It is a snare that has been laid before people.
Very strategically, yeah.
To try and trap people and to create separation within people.
Right.
You know, there's so much judgment that comes from it.
Yeah.
You know, and it produces so much fear within people.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, so.
It actually makes no sense to me.
Right. I know it.
But.
Anyways.
It's a beautiful episode.
Good, yeah.
We've got even more controversial people coming.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't wait.
Brace yourself. And you don't, yeah.
You can take it, you can hold space for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But all of our regular listeners, I encourage you, dive into it for yourself. Every single thing we bring, dive into it. Let it expand you. If it doesn't resonate or you don't understand it, you have full permission.
Thing is that's not really the full point of us. We're just going to bring on people that are exactly the same. Like, why don't we bring on some colorful people?
Totally.
Let's hear some different perspectives and everything, you know? You don't have to believe it all.
Oh, yeah. To me, the common thread is people who actually believe Jesus.
Yeah.
They encounter him.
Yeah.
And everybody holds a different piece of his heart. Yeah. You know? I mean,
everybody has their own experience with him. Yeah.
And I think that's intentional too. Like he brought our personalities, every single personality, into the fullness of them because he wanted you to express him in the fullness of your personality.
Yeah.
So I totally want different personalities on here. I want
definitely.
Different perspectives. I feel like every person that I sit with, period.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have a title on your name or you don't.
Yeah.
This is even people that I will sit with when I work with them.
Yeah.
I want to learn something from them.
Yeah.
I take stuff from people all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like.
I think it's the point.
Yeah.
And we're not what the church has been made out to be. We're not boxed in.
Not even a little.
It's an outward. Love is an outward expression. And so, sorry, you know.
So this is a side note. I was just thinking about this because I've been thinking about this thought lately. Thinking about an outward process.
Yeah.
So, if you feel stuck in something, one of the best things to do is to give. If you feel clouded or whatever, release something. I think sometimes it could be creativity. Sometimes it could be like a word of encouragement for somebody or whatever. But I've noticed that when I give a prophetic word to somebody and I feel kind of muddy, or I feel like, Lord, I really like I asked the Lord one day, I was like, Lord, will you extend something to me?
Yeah.
Like something in this, this tough season. Well, the word that I gave somebody was the very word that I actually needed. And when I released it to them, I heard the Lord say, that was also for you.
Yeah.
And I realized that is also the element of like we get fed when we release.
Yep.
Is sometimes the very words that we release to people is also the very word that we needed to come up from our innermost being into our conscious mind.
Yeah.
Like we needed to grab hold of it.
Yep.
And I was just thinking about how sweet the Lord was in that. It was like, that's a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
I have an example of that recently. I was telling another guy, I had a dream about a friend of mine who was Zach. And then that day that we came to work on the car, I had the dream the night before, and I gave it to Zach. And then as I was telling him what it was, I was like, you know what, Zach? I think that's for me. And I actually think you're the one. It was the dream. The gist of the dream was him unlocking something for me, for him like showing me how to do something, how to fix a broken record, very strategically. And so as I was telling him, I was like, oh, I think that one's for me. So it was like, but it might be for him too. But
yeah.
Anyways, it was a connecting point for both of us.
You know what's interesting is it was for him.
Wow.
That dream was for him.
Okay.
But it was also for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, what's funny is I had actually been thinking about that concept of like when you release a word to somebody for somebody, it's also for yourself.
Yeah.
I'd been thinking about that for like 2-3 weeks. And then Zach told me that whole thing where you were like, hey, wait, hold on. I think that's also for me. And I was like,
in the middle of it.
Yeah. And I laughed and I was like, that felt like confirmation about my own thought process in that. Because I think, sometimes we just get so locked, especially people who are out like wanting to release and wanting to give, that we almost like neglect ourselves.
Right.
Because we're just like, man, I want to release. Yeah. But we miss the beautiful tokens too, that in the releasing, there is actually the very word that we needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's good. Cuts both ways.
It's that double-edged sword.
It is, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That was a side note, but...
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the Ancient Way podcast, drop us a like, share with your friends, share with your family. And if you'd like to support us and what we are doing, and you would like to play a direct role in our growth and things that we do in the future,
we have a donation spot at the bottom of our show notes. So you can click on that, give however much you want. We appreciate absolutely everything. We appreciate our listeners. And everybody that's already come alongside and encouraged us, and even everybody that's been on our show. So thanks, guys.